Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Club. This is the place everyday real estate investors gather to share their best stories, biggest insights, and favorite tactics to grow a portfolio of cash flowing properties in today's market. Here's your host, Gabe Peterson.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys are having a great week wherever you are. I've said this every podcast episode for the last, 5 episodes, how sunny it is, but I really just can't get over it because today is a perfect day. I'm looking outside. It's just so nice out there. Got my trees planted. Everything's already growing. So I'm super excited. But I'm excited for a second reason because we have Dave Codrea with us on the podcast. Dave is the co-founder and partner at Greenleaf, and they do something pretty interesting. So this should be a good episode. They repurpose, or he's here to talk about repurposing call centers. I know AI is huge in the YouTube and Google and everything. Everybody's talking about AI, and call centers is one of the first things that will get hit with AI because I've even implemented it in my own business where you can have an AI answer calls. And so these call centers, I'm assuming this is what Dave's going to be talking about. They're sitting out there and nobody's in them. So Dave, I'm super excited to jump into this. Thanks for hopping on the show.
Yeah, excited to be here. It's definitely an interesting world that's happening right now. And there's lots of opportunity all over the place. So it's pretty cool.
For sure. I told you before we got on here, we always like starting with stories. We like to hear how people got to where they are. So why don't you take us to the beginning of your story in real estate and tell us how you got here?
Well, I think kind of growing up, when I was growing up playing sports with my buddies, I was like, you know what? We should all just be professional athletes. It's probably going to be amazing.
We'll all make it.
And then at some point that sets in and you're like, hey, that's, sorry, that's not going to happen.
Luckily, I knew growing up that I was not going to be a professional athlete. So I never had that dream.
I was holding out hope for a little bit until maybe that like 7th, 8th grade. You're like, wait a minute, these other guys are twice as big as I am. So no, and then just got into always like fixing things and work with my hands. So started fixing up houses when I was in high school. And I was like, I really enjoyed it. I didn't really care about the investment side of it. I was more like, I enjoy doing this. This is fun.
Getting your hands dirty, building things.
I enjoyed it. And then that kind of just kept going and snowballing. We bought some more houses, fixed some more up, bought some apartment buildings. And like 20 years later,
one thing led to another.
What I've been doing the whole time. And I never really had the intention of like, hey, I'm going to be a syndication group or be in all sorts of different asset classes. It was more like, I like doing this. I can do one at a time and just keep going.
Yep. Yeah. So, and there's so many, real estate is such a big umbrella and there's so many different ways to do it, which is one of the reasons I like it so much. It's also kind of the downside because you get shiny object syndrome and you're like, oh, I want to go do this. I want to go do that. But
absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
I love driving around. I love road trips. And I love just looking at all the different real estate that's out there. It's kind of how I got sort of looking at this call center type stuff, but you just drive around. There's so much cool stuff out there that you can either change how it's being used or just buy something that's existing and working really well.
Yeah. Yeah. And you really can. The sky's the limit when it comes to just, a piece of land. You can turn it into almost anything depending on a lot of things, but there's a lot of creativity that goes into real estate. Which it is very creative to repurpose call centers. It makes the instant I saw you submit that in our podcast submission, I was like, that makes total sense. But I want to hear from you. How did you get started in repurposing call centers? How did that idea come to you?
Well, I think anytime something happens in the world, there's always an opportunity, and most of that started when it was starting COVID, everyone's like, hey, everyone's going to work from home. And it's like, what are you going to do with call centers? Even kind of before AI, it was like, hey, this space, and you could just do that job from home probably.
I didn't even think about that. That also would destroy call centers. People just sitting at home doing
the call routing, the software and technology that's in the really just the customer service over the phone world. It just gets better and better and better. Yeah. And you don't necessarily need to be in a call center to have an effective environment. So there's a lot of suburban space that was just vacant. And I was looking at this stuff. I'm like, man, this is a cube farm. And I don't think this is really coming back.
Yeah.
So that was probably like, 4 years ago now. I'm like, I don't think it's coming back. So what else can we turn it into? Anything.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you've got a pretty large building with a lot of parking because call centers had a lot of people. So you got a lot of parking, you got a lot of power, you got a lot of room, and that tenant base is kind of gone. So you're looking at, hey, there's a deal if you can go figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was really I was like, I don't think these tenants are coming back.
Yeah.
So we got to go find, if we can go find something else to do that no one else is really looking at, I think we've got an opportunity to go make some money on these things.
Yeah. And call centers, they're usually located in kind of, corporate, what do you call them? Just
most of them are like, they're mostly around like corporate kind of plaza things. You come in, there's a bunch of different, 50 to 80 to 100,000 square foot buildings.
Is what you call it. Yeah.
Well, I'm buying all low rise build. I mean, I know they had some in high rise, but most of it's all low
Single
rise
story. Yeah.
buildings. And then what's happened is it's all real close to residential because the kind of residential is filled in around a lot of the stuff I'm looking for. And now you got a big piece of land that you can really do anything with.
Yeah.
And
when I worked in corporate still, I worked for a consulting company, and one of my projects was going out to T-Mobile's call centers, and we were implementing some, their software that they use. We were fixing it. But that call center, it was huge like that. It's a really big building. And so but it was also, I'm thinking of it now, and I don't really feel like you couldn't put a big box store in there because it wasn't quite like that. But I don't know.
16 to 18 foot ceilings. So
yeah.
You can't do like
So what is they're big spaces. They have, just kind of office level ceilings. What is it what's the best use case that you found for call centers?
So most of what I've done is like identifying the exact footprint of this building that I can work with. And then I'm dividing them into really like 5 to 10,000 square foot suites. And within that space, I have everything from like personal trainers will go in there, pest control, pharmacies, LabCorp is a big tenant that we work with because a lot of the medical groups, they've got to be like, LabCorp is literally like every 5 miles.
LabCorp, they do like blood draws,
testing drop-offs. And
okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of these businesses, like they're very kind of like very strategic in their spacing that they're doing. But they don't want 80,000 square feet.
Right.
They want 7, 5. And we're able to divide these buildings up into a footprint that's very consumable in the market, and also something that's really hard to make. So it's hard to go out and build a 5,000 square foot building somewhere. It's just really, kind of the juice isn't worth the squeeze if you're going to go out and do that.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So
we've had a lot of luck with finding those tenants that want those sizes.
Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast. Yeah, that kind of small business size makes a lot of sense, but it's not quite retail. It's not in a place where people would be walking by, and so you still need kind of the service type business to go in there.
Yeah, and for the most part, we're raising all the ceilings, so it's not like you got a 7-foot drop ceiling and you're looking down like a tunnel of doom. Most are like 16, 18-foot ceilings once you raise everything up. And then we'll put in like glass roll-up doors and open the fronts of them, repaint everything. Cool. So it looks clean. It looks nice and presentable. Yeah. But it's not like you've opened a restaurant and you've got pure retail traffic kind of stuff coming in and out.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how are you guys finding these? Do you just, are you guys going through brokers, or do you have a list of old call centers and you're just, cold calling them?
brokers are there, but also it's like, it's not like a super sexy thing. So the brokers are kind of like, do you want to do this? Who wants to do this? So there's some guys that are in the space and just have some leads, but we're really taking something, converting it to something else. So it's an open book of like, who can we talk to that has these opportunities? And a lot of it too is just driving by. But we drive around a lot and just like, where do these things look like it could fit the right layout, the right footprint, parking works, and how do we get in touch with that office owner who maybe just is
done with it?
Good enough.
Yeah, makes sense. So is there, you're in Georgia, are you guys only looking in kind of the Southeast, or are you guys looking nationally?
Yeah, no, just in the Southeast. We're pretty much investing close to home. We can get to most of our stuff and back. Sometimes it's a long day. We'll buy stuff up in like Charlotte and North Carolina or Chattanooga, but most of the time it's just close, pretty much just in the Southeast. That's where we like being. Easy to get to, easy. We operate all of our own stuff too. So we're doing the physical work to turn this thing from a call center to what it's going to be next.
Yeah.
So we're on site a lot.
Are you, have you guys gone full cycle on any of these, or are you keeping them into your portfolio and in cash flow?
Our general investment thesis is to buy an asset that we can have at a good basis and see how long we can cash flow and hold this thing for. Some of our deal, and we've done all sorts of different asset classes, from mobile homes, apartments, medical buildings. And our longest is like 12, 13 years that we've owned some deals now, and they cash flow and they're working. So we're happy with that. Let's keep it going.
I always like talking to people that are, like yourself, and they just go out there and they do deals. They're not looking at one specific deal, because you have a lot of experience over different asset classes. And so, the pluses and minuses of everything. I personally buy mobile home parks, RV parks, and self-storage facilities, but I've looked at other stuff, and I'm like, small bay industrial, I'm super keen on. So I'm curious, what is out of the asset classes that you worked on, which are your favorite in terms of doing the deal?
Yeah, I mean, they all have stuff that's very interesting when you're driving around and looking at stuff and just going and underwriting the deal. Mobile home parks, there can be some just insane things that happen and how these things were put together, the layouts, what they were doing at the time. Because it's kind of like mobile home parks are like back in the Wild Wild West when they made some of these things, and there was like, it was just a guy who went out and put mobile homes up. So it's fun to see some of that stuff and how it was done. But my favorite stuff is when we can look at an old building and find a way to repurpose it into something else that looks cool and is really neat. I personally enjoy that. I like doing those things. They don't necessarily always have the best investment returns. They normally take too long. They normally, there's always crap that goes wrong you don't expect, but they're a lot of fun and they're cool deals. And once they're stable, you've got like a one-of-a-kind asset that, works for a long time.
Yeah.
There's always, stuff behind the curtain that you don't know when you start getting in there.
Cut into the wall and you're like, oh shit, didn't expect this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what, going back to the call centers, what are you guys buying this on a per square foot basis? Like what, I'm assuming you're buying it under replacement cost.
Yeah. I'm not even sure what the replacement cost is on some of this stuff, because most of it, it would probably be a better like full redevelopment site than anything else. But I'm not doing that stuff because that's just too long of a time frame for me. But most of the time we're under $100 a square foot. We picked up some in like the 40s, some in the 60s. But it's also highly dependent on like where that city and where that location is.
Yeah.
That's driving at least the land value alone. So a lot of them we feel like we're getting, we're paying 10, 15% more than land cost to go redevelop something else. Feel pretty good in that number.
40 a square foot for that type of building. That's really impressive. But
I mean, it doesn't produce any revenue.
Right.
And there's really like no prospective tenant. You're buying a $40 liability or $60 liability.
And then how much do you guys generally put into it to do the conversion?
It costs us about $30 to $40 a square foot to outfit a space into more of like the white box, something that's usable.
Yeah.
So that means we've divided out all the utilities. We've got all the firewalls. we've got a spot that has CO from like a city or county perspective. But then that tenant's got to go in and go do their own upfit, depending on what they want. And that's anywhere from like 10 to $150 a square foot that tenant will spend on the space. Some of them are doing just incredible interior build outs, and other ones are like, hey, you guys get out of the way. We're bringing in some tables and we're ready to go. So nice. Very different on the
like a brewery or something. Yeah. So you guys are going in there and you are basically getting the building, everything you need to do to get the county and the city okay with what you're doing with the building. And then also you're putting in walls and the facade, you're adding doors, adding windows, that kind of stuff.
You got to clean it up. You got to make it look a little more presentable than wherever it was. The call center people are like, whatever, we're just going in the front door, or we just need to get to our spot.
Yeah.
So
call centers
freshen that up a little bit.
They're kind of dingy buildings.
But that puts us, if we're 100 to 125, I mean, that's a big range on per square foot right there. But depending on the area too, like we like that spot, and we get mid-teens in rent, and the numbers work for us.
Yeah. And when you rent them out, they're all gross rents, right? They're not triple nets.
Oh, it's most of them have reimbursements, but they're paying their own utilities in most functions. A lot of them, they're doing their own TI work. That's in there as well.
Okay. And do you have to do anything with the parking lot, repave? I'm sure
well, I mean, sometimes these buildings they've been vacant for a long time.
Yeah. Got a lot of weeds.
So you got some, like a lot of them were like re-scraping, not like scraping and replacing the pavement, but like, it's like, hey, no one's done the landscaping for 4 years. You got to like go find the parking lot and uncover the curbs and blow things off and cut down all the dead branches and overgrowth and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But funny. For the most part, the parking lot is good. Like the having to replace a full parking lot would kind of kill it for us, because that's just too expensive.
Yeah, it's crazy how much just getting asphalt out there is.
Yeah, so
we got a quote for one of our self-storage facilities, and I was just like, "That's ridiculous! I could buy a facility for that much."
I know. Yeah, so some of those are like deal breaker costs where we have that. But the other thing, call centers, a lot of them they have really good power supplies. A lot of them have backup generators because they had to be up and working. So it's like,
that makes sense.
We've got good infrastructure going into a lot of those assets. You just got to find what you can do with it.
Yeah. Have you ever put storage into a call center? I mean, I feel like they got the square footage and they're in locations that would usually work for that kind of thing.
Yeah. But maybe they just have too much parking though. I've got a lot of parking space. The storage, you're only in and out. So I don't know what you would do with all the parking that's just basically just sitting there that you got to maintain. But no, we haven't put any storage in stuff. I mean, we've done everything from like video game simulation companies that are there.
It's fun.
We've got a couple. I mean, breweries are a little tough. Everyone wants to start a brewery, but then I think it's like you're competing. It's not an easy business.
Yeah.
So those ones haven't done exceptionally well.
I've had two friends that started breweries and both of them failed.
It's like it sounds great. It's like, hey, you guys want to get together, hang out, just drink beer all day, but then you're like, wait a minute, it doesn't work that way.
And you have to have good beer, which is there's a lot of good beer out there, and so it's a pretty stiff competition.
Yes.
All right. So what is we're running through the time, so we got to go into the quick question round. But before we do, I always like to ask, what's on the horizon for you? What are you guys looking for the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, every 18 to 24 months, I feel like opportunities present themselves that you can really take advantage of. We have looked at recently a lot of like dollar store type stuff. That's one thing we bought into. Those have performed really well with what's going on.
And keeping them as dollar stores, or
just keeping them as dollar ststores. That's been good. The cap rates are pretty high right now in that space. So we got into some private debt lending as well, where we're looking at how can we join in the equity on an existing deal and kind of help take it to that next point in time. And then also we're looking for anything that is going to disrupt like just how normal real estate operations work. There's been a lot with all these private equity firms like Joann Fabric. They buy 800 stores. Now they're going to close them all down. It's like, that's 800 stores out there that I just need a few. and it would be great for me and I could figure something out. And then we're looking at all the government auctions as well. There's a lot of big government stuff that they're going to get rid of. And
because it cuts. That makes sense.
Yeah, they're just going to get rid of some of this crap because it's more of a liability for them. And it's an interesting thing we could go out and look at buying. I mean, in Atlanta, there's like a 1.5 million square foot federal building. Like, I don't know what you're going to do there.
Post office or something?
But we went through it. We drove through. I'm like, it's pretty cool. It's just like a big federal office building.
Wow.
It's vacant. 1.5 million square feet of vacant. Like, go to town, go figure it out, do whatever you want to do space. I think that stuff's super exciting. So
yeah,
those are there. There's a lot coming. I think the call center stuff probably eventually goes through the cycle and all that stuff gets eaten up.
Yeah.
And then it's not a business anymore. You got to adapt and move to what's next.
Where do you go for government auctions? Where do they auction off their buildings?
The GSA website, like if you just go to like GSA government auctions, they just have a person's email address up there. It's like, email Melissa with an offer for this.
Go send Joe an email. He'll that's where the offers go.
We've done some of those. We're trying to see if we can get anything there. It's and it's interesting. It's fun. Like, you got to have fun doing this stuff. You got to like what you're looking at. And that's really like open. I mean, they have everything. They have everything from like random land to big federal courthouses.
Yeah. So. That's really cool. And the Joanne Fabrics thing, that's pretty interesting because those are huge buildings and they have so many of them and they're all closing down. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And it's like, maybe you can buy the leases. There's a lot of different structures you can do to take advantage of that stuff and work with it. But yeah, it's an opportunity that's right there. It's like right there. It's right now. Someone's going to solve it. Yep.
All right, man. Yeah. Well, we have gone through the time, so it's time to jump into the quick question round. Are you ready?
Sure. Let's do it.
Starts with education. Could be any form. Could be a conference you've gone to, mentorship program you've been a part of, a book you've read, movie you've seen, anything. Just need 2 recommendations, one for general life wisdom and then one for real estate.
I went to the All In Summit, the All In Podcast Summit last year. That was excellent. That was pretty cool. Going to that and seeing that. And then I don't think you need to do anything crazy on learning stuff, but I'm a big fan of this book called Boyd. I think it's an excellent book on how to make decisions.
Boyd, B-O-Y-D?
B-O-Y-D. Yep.
Huh. Never heard of that one.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's fantastic on how to make decisions, how to make them. You got to make decisions faster and move.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things that I'm trying to get better at is when I realize that I'm sitting on a decision. That is the wrong thing to do. You just need to make a decision, and it could be the right one, it could be the wrong one, but you have to make a decision.
Any decision is better than indecision.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't it General Patton or said something like that? Yeah. All right. Next question is for your younger self. Let's go back to the Dave who was just getting started so many years ago, just working in those houses. Go back to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
I just enjoy all the hard work.
I like it.
When I was first, I wasn't married. I didn't have any kids. I could do all this. It was awesome. I mean, kids and family and all that, they're great, but then you don't have as much time to go enjoy the random things you're working on, and you can overspend time on things and enjoy it.
Yeah. That is
a fun phase of life.
This is I don't know, episodes 500, maybe 600 something. And you're the first person to say, enjoy the ride. That's a good piece of advice. All right. Next question is about the US. It's a big place. There is a lot of opportunity out there. Give me the single metro you're most excited about investing in today.
I kind of look at that from an opposite spectrum. I was like, people live in their town. I think they should invest in their town. Whatever they think is they know their town best. They know the people in their town. They know what's important. They should invest in their town. I don't think the grass is greener on the other side. I'd invest in your town and do a good job there. Help make it a better place. I think you'll do great.
And there's always opportunity. It doesn't matter what town you're in. There is always opportunity there.
Yes.
Yeah. So good advice. All right. Next question is about finding the deal. It all starts with getting in contact with the seller and penning the purchase agreement. So what is your favorite way to generate leads and find new deals?
Well, I mean, I love driving around personally. I drive a big Sprinter van every day and I'm always looking at stuff. So I prefer doing that. People say, hey, that's not the best use of time yeah, sure. But it's fun and I enjoy it. So that's my favorite way to go find stuff is just driving around and looking at what's in my area. I'm there all the time driving around. And then, we deal with brokers a lot. They help get it over the finish line.
Yeah.
We don't do anything where we're trying to go direct to the seller.
Oh, okay.
Like we'll find someone like, let's get a broker involved and help this person get it over the finish line. They're good at that. I'm not that guy. So
yeah, that makes sense. So you guys don't do any like skip tracing to find the owner. You just you identify the building that you want, and then you call your broker and you're like, hey man, find this owner, see if he wants to sell.
Or what broker do you think knows this person? Like, how can we get there and have someone that can help us get this deal over the finish line?
Yeah, makes sense. All right, next question is about lessons learned. Not every deal that we get into goes the way we expect it. In fact, pretty much every single time something goes wrong and we get to learn a lesson. You've been in a lot of deals, so I'm sure you have a lot of lessons. Give me a single deal that went a little bit sideways for you guys, and then what was the lesson you pulled from it?
This is really the first time it happened. When I was doing a lot of the work myself, I could control the time and the cost a lot. And then especially when I had crews, I was doing it. But as we got bigger and we outsourced probably a little too far, we were doing an apartment deal in the timeline. Like the timeline creep went to like double the timeline that it would have taken when we were just doing this stuff internally. And that's where I was like, look, we don't need to go that route. We've got to be able to do this stuff in-house. And then therefore, even to this day, we manage our total vacancy. And that's really the indicator of what we can do as a company to grow. Because I'm like, hey, we can't have too much vacancy because we need to execute and hit our timelines consistently. And if we get too easy on that stuff, time is the best thing in real estate, but it's also your biggest enemy.
Yeah.
And,
that makes a lot of sense.
That one deal, it was our 15th deal. It just took too long.
And now the lesson there, I mean, it sounds like the big issue was you had, I don't want to say grown too fast, but
definitely. We went too fast. We were relying too much on outside talent instead of our own talent. And they don't, not that they weren't good. They were very good, but like the value structures and incentives, like all that stuff, when you have your own team, you're out there and you guys are like, look, we make money if we go do this. That works a lot better. So
there's more motivation.
We made that mistake. And then from now we're doing all this stuff as much as we can with our internal team and really managing like how much are we biting off at one time.
Yeah. All right. Makes sense. All right. That leads us to the very last question. This is for the listeners. You've given us a lot to think about. I'm sure people want to reach out, get in contact with you. This is a two-parter. Where can they find you? And then what can they expect when they reach out?
My email, phone stuff, they're all on LinkedIn. And I probably like talking about real estate. So if they want to talk about real estate and go through all the different random stuff that can happen, I'd love to. It's super fun.
All right. Sounds good. I think you put your LinkedIn URL in the show notes. So I will make sure to put that, or you put it in the submission. I will put it in the show notes. So if you guys want to reach out to Dave, all you got to do is click the little more in the description. It'll pull down that full description, and in there you can find his link. All right, man, that wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Absolutely. For everybody who's with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, Gabe, at therealestateinvestingclub.com. If you guys want to support the show, just leave us a review. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.